Elizabeth Taylor, one of the greatest film icons of all time, was known not only for her acting talent and mesmerizing beauty, but also for her turbulent personal life, especially her 8 marriages to 7 different men. Each man in her life left a unique mark, shaping Liz's personality and career. Conrad Nicky. Hilton, 1950-1951. Heir Elizabeth was only 18. Still more a girl than a woman when she walked down the aisle in a $3,500 wedding gown, gifted by MGM. It was the studio's ultimate publicity stunt, their young star marrying a real-life prince of American wealth, the heir to the Hilton Hotel fortune. At first, it was a fairy tale. The wedding made national headlines. Life magazine called it the wedding of the year. But behind the glittering smiles and orchids, there was trouble. Nicky Hilton was handsome, charming, and deeply troubled. He drank heavily, gambled recklessly, and lashed out in anger. Elizabeth later revealed he was abusive, physically and emotionally. The marriage lasted only 8 months. The girl who dreamed of love walked away in silence, her Hollywood innocence shattered. It was her first heartbreak, but far from her last. Michael Wilding, 1952-1957, The Gentleman and the Hollywood Princess. Michael Wilding was everything Nicky Hilton wasn't: kind, mature and quietly British. He was 20 years older, a refined actor with a calm presence that seemed to soothe Elizabeth's stormy energy. She once said, "Michael was like a warm bath, comforting and safe." They had 2 sons, and for a time she lived a relatively calm domestic life in London. Yet as her fame skyrocketed in Hollywood, with A Place in the Sun and Giant, Wilding's career dimmed. He preferred quiet evenings. She craved the spotlight, the spark faded. She found herself restless again. In 1957, while filming Giant, she realized she had outgrown the gentle man who had once been her shelter. Their divorce was polite, civilized, a rarity in her turbulent love life, but it marked the end of her safe years. Mike Todd, 1957-1958. If Elizabeth Taylor ever had a soulmate, it might have been Mike Todd. He was bold, brash, brilliant. A showman who invented the widescreen format and produced Around the World in 80 days. He called Elizabeth Lizzie Baby, and she adored him. They were both extravagant, both larger than life, and together they were unstoppable. Todd lavished her with jewels, laughter, and grand gestures. "I never loved anyone like I loved Mike," she later said. "He made me feel alive every single day." When they attended the Oscars, they were the couple everyone watched, Hollywood royalty at their most radiant. Then, in March 1958, tragedy struck. Mike Todd's private plane, the Lucky Liz, crashed in New Mexico. Everyone on board died. Elizabeth was supposed to be with him that night, but had stayed home due to illness. She never forgave herself. Friends say she screamed for days. She slept clutching his pillow, whispering his name. "That," she said later, "was the day part of me died too." Eddie Fisher, 1959-1964, The Scandal That Shocked America Grief Can Make People Do Strange Things. In the aftermath of Mike Todd's death, his best friend Eddie Fisher, a crooner married to America's sweetheart Debbie Reynolds, came to comfort the widow. Comfort soon turned into passion, and Hollywood turned into chaos. When the affair went public, it was the biggest scandal of the 1950s. Headlines screamed, "Homewrecker," and movie theaters banned her films in small towns. But Elizabeth didn't care. "Eddie needed me, and I needed him," she said defiantly. They married in 1959, but the guilt, the gossip, and the constant public scrutiny corroded the relationship. Then came Cleopatra, and the man who would forever define her life. Richard Burton, 1964-1974. When Elizabeth Taylor met Richard Burton on the set of Cleopatra, sparks flew so violently that even the cameras seemed to tremble. Both were married, she to Fisher, he to Sybil Williams, but their chemistry was volcanic. "The most dangerous liaison in Hollywood history," one columnist wrote. Burton was Welsh fire. Taylor was Hollywood flame. Together they burned through everything: marriages, money, sanity. They drank together, fought publicly, made love passionately, and made films that immortalized their turmoil. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? The Taming of the Shrew, Cleopatra. Their first marriage lasted 10 years, filled with diamonds, yachts, and fights that could shatter glass. Burton once bought her the 33-carat Krupp diamond. She bought him rare first editions of poetry. They couldn't live without each other, or with each other. They divorced in 1974. "We loved each other too much," she said. "It was like holding lightning in your hands." Richard Burton, again 1975-1976, Love rewritten. A year later they remarried, in a small private ceremony in Botswana. The world sighed. Elizabeth and Richard again. But the magic had changed. They were older, sadder, worn by fame and addiction. Within 10 months, they split again, this time for good. Yet even after the second divorce, they wrote letters long and tender. "You'll always be my great love," he told her. She kept his last letter beside her bed until the day she died. John Warner, 1976-1982, the senator and the star after The Tempest of Burton. Elizabeth craved something normal. She found it in John Warner, a Republican politician from Virginia. They married at his family farm, and she tried to live the life of a senator's wife: quiet dinners, fundraisers, horse shows. But Hollywood's queen didn't fit easily into Washington's conservative world. She was restless, lonely, and soon battling depression. "I felt like a decorative vase," she said later. Beautiful but empty. She began drinking more heavily, leading to a painful downward spiral. When she finally left Warner, she also left behind the illusion that she could ever be anything but Elizabeth Taylor. Wild, famous, and impossible to tame. Larry Fortensky, 1991 to 1996, the last romance by the 1990s, Elizabeth had lived 10 lifetimes. She'd survived addiction, scandals, surgeries, and fame. And then, at Betty Ford Rehab, she met a construction worker named Larry Fortensky, 20 years younger, with golden hair and a working-class charm that amused her. They married at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch, a spectacle of roses, white doves, and paparazzi helicopters. She wore a $25,000 Valentino gown. The guest list included Nancy Reagan, Eddie Murphy, and of course Michael Jackson himself. The marriage was sweet, but fragile. "Larry was good to me," she said, "but I was no longer the same woman." They divorced in 1996, though she continued to support him financially until her death. Despite everything, she remained loyal in her own complicated way.